When my sister Sophie got engaged, I didn't imagine that her wedding would become the most painful and confusing chapter of my life. From childhood, we were more than siblings. After our mother passed away and our father remarried a woman who never liked us, Sophie almost became my responsibility. I was 17 and she was 12, and I remember holding her hand during thunderstorms because she was scared. I remember cooking cheap meals for her when Dad wouldn't come home. I remember walking her to school because she always said she felt safer when I was around. She used to tell me, "Ethan, you're the only person I trust." That sentence stayed with me all my life. Even after I moved to New York for college, I called her every night. When she joined college, I helped her with her tuition. When she got her first apartment, I paid the deposit. Not because she asked, because that's what big brothers do when there's no one else. So when she met Mark, a quiet guy from California, I didn't think much of it. I thought, maybe this guy will make her feel safe the way I always tried to. She seemed happy, excited, glowing in a way I hadn't seen in years. When she told me she was getting married, she cried on the call, saying, "Ethan, I want you to be a big part of it. You're the only family I care about." I didn't know those words would come back to haunt me. As she described her dream wedding, an outdoor vineyard ceremony, lanterns hanging from oak trees, a live band, white roses everywhere, I could hear the little kid inside her who never had anything luxurious growing up. She said she'd been saving, but her savings were nowhere near enough. She sounded embarrassed when she admitted it. So I told her, "Don't worry about the money. I'll take care of everything." She screamed with joy like she used to when she was a little girl. That laugh was worth every dollar I would eventually spend. Weeks turned into months, as wedding planning took over every conversation. I transferred deposits, handled contracts, negotiated with vendors. I took flights for meetings she couldn't attend. Every time I told her something was paid for, she hugged me tightly and said, "You're the best brother in the world." The wedding cost kept rising. $30,000 for the venue, $18,000 for catering, almost $10,000 for the designer dress she dreamed of since she was a teenager, $11,000 for photographers and videographers. Everything added up until the total crossed $100,000. People told me I was crazy. My friends said I was being taken advantage of. But in my heart, I felt like I was doing the right thing. She didn't get a mother at her graduation. She didn't get a father who clapped for her achievements. All she had was me, and I wanted her one big day to feel magical. But as the wedding date approached, I felt something shift. She became distant. She stopped calling me for advice. When I texted her about flower arrangements, she just said, "Whatever you think." When I asked her if she wanted to have lunch, she said she was busy. And when I visited her apartment once, Mark barely looked at me. He gave me a stiff smile and went to another room. The atmosphere felt different, like I had been moved from being the closest person in her life to being an unwanted guest. I tried to convince myself it was normal wedding stress, but 3 days before the wedding, I woke up to the coldest message I ever received in my life. "Don't come to the wedding. It's better for everyone." I stared at the message, reading it again and again, convinced I was misunderstanding it. My chest tightened like someone had punched a hole right through it. I immediately called her. No answer. I texted her. No response. I called her fiancé, Mark, and it went straight to voicemail. I sat on the edge of my bed in complete disbelief, replaying years of memories, me helping her at every step, me comforting her after breakups, me sacrificing to give her everything she never had, and now she didn't even want me at her wedding. I didn't sleep the whole night. The next morning, one of her close friends, Rachel, called me secretly. Her voice trembled when she said, "Ethan, I don't think Sophie can tell you the truth. She's afraid you'll hate her." I asked, "What truth?" She sighed and said, "Mark told her that he doesn't want you at the wedding. He thinks you're too involved in her life. He said you paying for everything makes him look weak. He gave her an ultimatum. Either you don't come or he won't come." I felt the world tilt. My sister had chosen a man's insecurity over her own brother's love. I didn't shout, I didn't argue, I didn't cry. I just sat quietly, feeling a kind of pain that words can't describe. It wasn't about the money, that part didn't matter anymore. What hurt was that she didn't defend me. She didn't tell him what I meant to her. She simply agreed to push me out. I spent hours thinking about what to do. A part of me wanted to go to her house and demand answers. Another part of me wanted to disappear. But the strongest part of me, the one that had protected her our entire lives, realized something that night. If she could throw me away for someone else's ego, then maybe I had been loving her alone all these years. The next morning, I made a decision that surprised even me. Every contract for the wedding, venue, catering, band, photographers was under my name. I was the legal owner of everything. I could cancel it all with a single call, but I didn't cancel it. Instead, I changed the guest list. I called a charity organization that helped foster children and single mothers. I told them I had a fully paid event, an expensive one, and asked if they could bring people who never got to experience something like this. That evening, the venue was beautifully decorated, music played softly, delicious food was served, and children laughed under the same lanterns. Sophie had chosen mothers cried when they saw the tables, saying they had never eaten at such a place in their lives. While they danced and enjoyed, I sat quietly at the edge of the venue, watching happiness bloom in a place where heartbreak was supposed to be. I texted Sophie after the event ended. "Don't worry, I won't come to the wedding, and neither will your wedding." She called me almost 30 times. I didn't pick up. When she finally texted, she wrote, "How could you do this to me?" I replied, "You did it first." Later, I heard that when she and Mark arrived at the venue and found out there was no wedding, Mark blamed her. They had a huge fight in front of everyone. Some guests left, some stayed just to gossip. What was supposed to be the happiest day of her life became a humiliating disaster. Months passed. Sophie and Mark fought constantly until they eventually separated. One evening, she showed up at my door. She looked tired, worn out, and broken. She cried in my arms like the little girl she once was. She apologized for choosing someone else's insecurity over my love. She kept saying she didn't know how to fix what had happened. I didn't say much. I just told her time heals everything if both people wanted to. Our relationship is still repairing. It's softer now, slower, more fragile, but at least it's real again. As for the $100,000, it became a memory for people who desperately needed joy. It didn't fix my wounds, but it softened them, and it taught me something I had ignored for years. Love is beautiful, but respect is priceless.